Hello and welcome to the He Doesn't Want a podcast. Today I am here with the current Islandmagee manager, Lee Forsythe. And Lee, how's it going? Keeping well, mate?
Yes, mate. Yes, glad to be on. Thanks for inviting me.
Glad to have you. I've seen you're a bit of a follower of the podcast, so I thought you'd be a great guest to have on. And good to see our listener as well as a guest as well.
I've had some good ones on. I enjoyed Big Soap's one. I know that old adversary of ours, so
Definitely,
it was a good. It was nice hearing it from his side of things because some of his best moments were probably some of my worst moments. So all the kind of titles he won with New England were some of my dark times. So it was nice to hear it from the other. Nice to hear somebody actually enjoyed it. That I didn't.
I know it's one of them things, like, isn't it, where somebody has to lose, somebody's winning, somebody has to lose. So.
He talked about the night, I think it was 2010 when New England won the league, and they went 17 games in a row. And he was saying about the night, the Downpatrick players away from home, and they were over kind of, congratulating them and stuff. And I was flipping. It was a real low moment for me. So it was nice to hear that somebody enjoyed it. So no, it's been good. I'm glad to be on.
Brilliant. What I want to do first of all, mate, is actually just go straight into your current role at Islandmagee. You came in there just around Christmas time. Is that correct?
Yeah, just after Christmas, probably January time. Obviously, I'd left Knockbreda kind of end of October, start of November, and then it had been the first time ever that I'd been out of football from I kind of really went in. So I'd never ever experienced kind of Saturdays in the house, and I had a few wee offers, and I wasn't planning to go back in. Islandmagee had asked me a few times, and I went and watched a couple of games, and I thought there was something there. So yeah, I went in just after January, and done seven games I was there for, and obviously was cut short with COVID, the coronavirus. But no, it was good. It was a good time. It was nice to go in. Very different kind of experience again from town Knockbreda. So it was nice to go in and put my own stamp on things. And obviously now we've got a clean slate to have a go at things this year.
Yeah, how was their league position when you went in, and did it change much?
I know. Well, really, we were going in just to stay up. That was the aim, was to go up. They were kind of, I'm not sure where they were when I went in. They're bottom two, bottom three. So really the remit was to stay up, which we did. Obviously, well, pending league continuation or whatever. But I say it was I thought it brought a few players, and it was tough because with a 10-game rule for players transferring and for double anybody who's already used their transfer up, so you couldn't really bring. I think we got 6 in, 6 good players and done well. So I certainly felt we made a difference. I think the players would think that as well. So it's about this year now. We've got a blank slate at it and having a go. And I think kind of traditionally, nobody will really fancy Islandmagee at all to do much in the league. So hopefully, I've good experience in the amateur league, and it was always kind of written off in the past with Ards Rangers. Certainly when I went there at the start, and nobody thought we were going to do much. So hopefully we can surprise a few people. Yeah, that'll certainly be my plan. Like, I don't want to go back in the amateur league and end up being a kind of mid-table team or a team fighting around the bottom of the league. It's not really for me. So hopefully we can, but say it's a tough league. There's a lot of good teams up. So it's easier said than done, but certainly we'll do everything we can.
Give it a go. In terms of players, you said last season there was a couple of players you maybe could have got in that you couldn't because of the rules. But have you been able to then sign more new players this year?
That's certainly what we're looking to do now this year, and a few of those players and bring in. But we did rightly. I mean, last year we brought in a couple of players who's been with me before, Big Sticky Hislop and Mark Drysdale, Big Ricky Rutherford came with me, and then we were able to get a couple of other good players in. Big Chris Trussell, Michael Edgar came in, Gary Workman came in. So I thought the players we brought in really improved the team. So obviously I would probably be known for being a bit of a wheeler and dealer with players and stuff. So over the years, so I think we'll hopefully bring. But there's good quality there, to be fair, as well. I think there is good players at Islandmagee. They're not. That was why I took the job, because I had a few wee offers, and I think that the Islandmagee players, to be fair, there's some half decent players there. So just a bit of an organisation, a bit of structure. So hopefully with the players that we can bring in, we'll have a good season. But I say we'll see when it starts again, Gary. We don't know. That's what we're all kind of.
Exactly.
It's becoming a bit of a farce, but you understand. Obviously, it's nobody's fault. But just wait and see.
Yeah, because you've seen the other day the Northwest FA, I think, of
It's in October.
1st of October or start of October, and then you have the Mid Ulster League starting the end of August. And
Yeah, and
then
then
the
we've
Amateur
obviously
League, we don't even know if the season's finished from last year.
that's the league. Obviously, there's a bit of a dispute going on, so we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen that way, but we'll just wait and see. So I think it's been
Yeah.
tough because I haven't been a fan of bringing the players in too early, because I think it's like when McDonald's opened. Everybody was slipping the drive-through, queues were out the door, and now it's kind of the place is empty. And it's the same to hairdressers. Hairdressers were queues, and now they're empty. And I think for me that was the kind of same with training. I think the players need a focus. I think the players need a goal at the end of it. And I think if you're coming in doing a 4-month pre-season, I think you lose focus, you lose intensity, and so it's hard to kind of have the same pre-season program that you would have normally. That kind of intensity and workload and building up towards kind of match fitness. So I say everybody's in the same boat though. So
it's completely unprecedented. Some teams are going to get it right and some teams are going to get it wrong, and nobody knows who's going to be right or wrong until the start of the season.
That's true. Everybody's just kind of winging it at this stage.
Yeah.
So it's up to the players' responsibility too, because obviously those boys that are on the beer flat out and on the furlough and doing nothing, sitting playing the Xbox, they'll be found out. Against maybe the other boys who are doing a wee bit. So we'll just wait and see. It'll be the same across the board. Nobody can really complain. Just hopefully the most important thing will be getting back playing football in a safe environment.
Yeah, in terms of your ambitions for next year, obviously you don't want to be fighting relegation like this year, but are you aiming to push not just the mid-table for your first full season, but contend, or will you be looking at cup competitions?
I mean, in one hand, it'd be arrogant of me to say, we're going to come in and we're going to go and challenge and go and win this and win that. But I think anybody who kind of knows me and knows my kind of background in the amateur league, I think the amateur league is there's a way in to win. I think you have a good organisational shape, and there's definitely a way to win games. The amateur league is maybe different in championship and different in other leagues, but certainly there's a winning formula. It's done me well in the amateur league in the past. And that's what I'll be trying to do. So certainly for my ambitions, I'm not, I want to absolutely challenge. I want to do well. I want to compete. So that would be our aim. I think that's got to be everybody's aim. We'll aim to win, one game at a time and see where it takes us. But I think if the mentality of the club is, we're just happy to be a Premier League club and stuff, then we've got the, that's not for me. I want to win. I left the amateur league as kind of a winner and doing well. And, I'm not coming back in to do anything else. We're not going to make any grand claims, but certainly we're in to compete and see where it takes us. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know because obviously clubs will lose players and stuff. But as I said, at Ards Rangers, my first year in the Premier, I think we went up from runners up, and everybody kind of thought we were going to be relegation fodder, and that was the year Big Soap was talking about, where they'll be this in the last game this season. So we'll wait and see. But certainly, my ambition, my personal ambition, will be for the club to build them up and to have the success we had at Ards Rangers. That might not happen, but certainly that would be the aim for me and the staff and all the players.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, just take it one game at a time, and if you start winning games at the start of the season, you can maybe reassess your ambitions, or if you start losing a couple of games, you might start to...
Yeah, it's going to be hard, mate, to know when we're actually starting, and because obviously maybe a wee bit of pre-season form and stuff. We don't know. There's teams that could be flying there in pre-season and winning matches, 7, 8, 9, and the season might not start for another 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, and players will be out of form. So it's really hard to judge what's going to happen in that way. We don't know, but there is good teams in our league. But teams are going to lose players, teams are going to gain players. So the Premier League has always been a tough league. There's never been really too many easy games. And I say you've got your Cromwell Stars and your Ralph Ridings and your East Belfast and your Ards Rangers, your Ballinhinch Olympics. So it's going to be a tough league. But I think for me, I don't remember, I don't know, I can't think of the last manager to win 2 Premier League titles with 2 different clubs. So that would be the ultimate aim, But say it might never happen. But I don't remember. Obviously, I know like a Big Soap now win 5. It was always the same club. I win 2 with the same club. But I can't remember the last manager to win 2 Premier League titles with 2 different clubs.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the listeners will tell us who it was, but I can't. It'll certainly be a while ago, if ever. So that would be the ultimate aim. But I say, well, I'll certainly be putting everything into it, like to make it happen. But
brilliant, happy days. Well, what I want to do now, mate, is to start with where you started, your playing career, on to your coaching career.
My playing career will not take long. I am a bit like Big Soap, I never really had I was probably read the game better than the wee feet could do the talking. I say, the boys will give me a bit of stick, but I always rate them. My highlight was a goal for Carrick Reserves at Ballymena, 5-0 down. That was probably my football highlight. As a player, I didn't really do much else really. As a player, wasn't good enough really to make it at that level. And to be honest with you, I was a big Glen man, and all I wanted to do was watch the Glens, and that was kind of, so I never really got into playing football on Saturday afternoons. Kind of as a kid, BB was a big thing. Played BB a lot, football, and then Saturday afternoons was just when you kind of got that age. A lot of my mates, a lot of my friends, all went to Orangefield. All went and played for Orangefield, and I never went with that group. I just went and watched the Glens. I was obsessed with football, obsessed with the Glens, and I went every week home and away, to watch the Glens, and really that was my focus. Just obsessed with everything about the Irish League and about players. And say that was my brother. Actually, I started coaching. My brother, he was coaching at Ards Rangers. He was coaching like under 14s, under 15s, and he asked me down with him when I was about probably 19 or 20. And I went down with him for a couple of seasons. Really enjoyed it, and that got me into coaching. That started me off, and I actually done my B license in 2004. I think Carrick had put us through. And then from there, I wanted to go out my own. Me and my brother's older than me, so we had a few artistic differences. I wanted to be the boss, so I got the job at Ards Youth under 15s. Done well at Ards Youth 15s, 16s, and then I was at the Ards under 18s for 2.5 years in the Irish Youth League, and we done well. It was a good side, and we'd win the Irish Youth Cup. We'd beat Cliftonville in the final. There was very young Joe Gormley and a few other big names kind of Cliftonville. And then that was really, at that point, that kind of team were all too old for under 18 football. And I'd heard about the Ards Rangers job, obviously being up in Newton Ards taking under 18s. And I applied for the Ards Rangers job. Lied about my age. I was only 24. They were in 1A. And I lied about my age. I went into my interview, told them I was 28. And I wasn't. I was 24. And got the job somehow. Don't know how I really got the job. Probably didn't deserve it, based on what I've done. But I think they saw a manager who could bring more or less a full team of under 18 players.
Yeah, which is a big plus for an amateur club.
Which is big. And Ards Rangers weren't doing well. They weren't doing well at that stage. They were a 1A club, and things weren't great for them. We went in a lot of older players, so went in the Ards Rangers then, and wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at the start the first year because it was bringing a lot of 17, 18-year-olds into real men's football, and we struggled. And I remember in our third game, we got hammered away to Abbey Villa. We got beat 7-1 away to Abbey Villa, and it was carnage. The older players were wanting me out, and there was people in the club that wasn't too happy, and it wasn't great. And we had a real bad period then in my first year, and I think we lost 10 games in a row. In 1A, we lost 10 games in a row. We went to Warrenpoint actually in an Irish Cup game, and nobody at that time knew how good Warrenpoint were going to be. Barry Gray was a manager. They were still a provincial club, and our keeper, big Jason Mooney, gets sent off after about 15 minutes, and we got beat 5-0. And I was wraith with the referee that day. Was, you may have heard about me going a bit of a calm fella on the sideline, and I was going mad. And it was a bit of a Graham Taylor. I went over to the referee and I said to the referee, "Well done, ref, it cost me the job." Because, we weren't doing well. I think we were 11th in 1A. We lost 10 games in a row. We got beat 5-0 at one point. And there was a vote to sack me at Ards Rangers. And very famous vote. The chairman all the time told me about it. And basically, there was half voted me out and half voted me in. And the chairman's vote was the vote that carried. He had the deciding vote then. It's because it was a tie. And he voted to keep me. So I stayed, kept my job. This is around October, November time, my first year. And he voted, and I think if I'd lost my job then, I probably would have been forgotten, and never really got an arch. So I kept my job by the skin of my teeth. And that same year, we win 10 games in a row and got promoted in that same season. So I think it just took a lot of young lads a wee bit of time the jail in Moldin.
Yeah.
And we actually had the home game at Abbeyville in January, and Mark and Graham Bailey were managing Abbeyville at the time, who we had a big rivalry with, but we actually get on the best with them now.
Yeah.
But somebody made a comment about us being a pub team, and I took this really badly. And this was I took it really badly, and there was a bit of words said, and I left the club, and I had said the league was tight. I said we're getting promoted this year, and from that game we went and won 10 games in a row, and got promoted, and it was amazing. It was unbelievable, really, from what we've been through. So that was my first kind of year at Ards Rangers, and then we obviously got into the Premier League, and then that first season, that run just continued. We were well. Big Soap touched on it. We were well out in front of the Premier League. We were a surprise package, and we were well in front. And I say it was actually Darren Murray. I think Big Soap brought Darren Murray into Newton's first team. Doozle came in around Christmas time, and I came across Doozle loads of times, and I always never let him forget it. When he came in, he scored about 142 goals from Christmas. That was the 17 games that Newton win, and I say they just pipped this at the end, and that was our first year in the Premier, my second year. And then I say then I think we missed out, and in year 4 we win the Premier. That was our first silverware, if you like, winning the Premier, Ards Rangers, and that was unbelievable. It was I think the final game actually, it came down to us and Albert Foundry. Yeah. It was a winner takes all game, and I think the Irish Cup final was at 3:00, and we had to kick off at 12:00. And it was the only game in the country at 12:00. So the Drone Park was bunged, absolutely packed. The Daily Mirror was there. All the photographers. They actually done the trophy presentation, which they never ever do in the Amateur League. It's normally back in the King's Hall. The trophy was there on the day. It was a trophy presentation. All the Daily Mirror had set a podium and stuff out, and it was winner takes all. So it was an unbelievable day, unbelievable, just occasion. And thankfully we win the game then. 81st minute, a draw would have done us. Yeah. But we knew we scored 81st minute to win the game, and that was great. That was year 4. I think then year 5 was beating the Clarence Cup final, beating the Intermediate Cup final, and because of the cup runs, killed our league position. And then obviously then the biggest thing for us then was we win the double then in 2015. We win the Premier again and win the Border Cup, which was unbelievable. That was a great occasion. I don't think it had never been done in Ards Rangers history. winning the 2 trophies. To get and we walked the league that year. We were just so good. So it was tough because there was so many good teams at that stage. Newington obviously were the benchmark. Yeah. And they were so used to winning it. And for us, from where we came from, and we didn't have, it wasn't the, you look at the likes of Crumlin Star and what Newington had, and there was a real kind of community, there was a real identity, tight-knit. All the players were local. That wasn't like that at Ards Rangers. It was players were coming from everywhere. Coming to a club, but we some of the craziest people you've ever met in your life. I mean, honestly, they just lunatic. Some of the things that happened at Ards Rangers were, we spoke before about funny things happening in football, just ludicrous stuff, just mad stuff. But they could play. They could play football, and we had a real good spirit about us and a real good just atmosphere. And I mean, I was there 9 years in total at Ards Rangers, but I think the thing I'm proud of, it wasn't one team. We never had one team. We built at least 4 different sides. At kind of Ards Rangers, from the Mark Millers to the kind of the Darren Sterlings to the Glenn Uplands, Ricky Rutherford. The team progressed. There was a lot of change in personnel, and to keep us at that level, we always challenged. Don't think we were ever outside of the top 4 in the Premier. And I think it was maybe 3 or 4 runners-ups. So it was a proud time. It was a good time. And obviously then the opportunity came for me to move to Knockbreda, which was tough. Because I think from the outside looking in, people thought maybe I was an Ards Rangers man or whatever. I wasn't, and that was no disrespect to the club. I'm an East Belfast boy. It was a club that gave the opportunity. I'll never forget that. But I say I was an East Belfast boy, and I had an opportunity to move on and better myself, and I took it. But it was it was a wrench to leave. Because of the closeness I had with so many of the people, especially around the committee. The kind of there was Gordon Stewart, the chairman, Desi Adams, the secretary, and Big Neville, God rest him, he's passed away. I was very, very close with them three, and they were the three that kind of from the early days that really supported me. The Ards Rangers were a big club, so it was a wrench to leave, but it was probably the right time as well to go and try something different, because I wanted to better myself, really. But
9 years is a long time in football, in fairness, and like you said, you had to rejuvenate your team, and you had basically 4 teams win that time. And a couple of things just the question on it. That firstly, when you were struggling and you got the vote, the dreaded vote of confidence, which worked out well. It seems to be this all then just got together and went, right, this is it, now I'm here, let's go. And then when you started winning games, it was a crest of a wave after it.
There was, it definitely was. It was just a momentum. We just got a momentum in the team, and we just felt like we couldn't have been beat. I think that half the changemen probably didn't know what was going on, because maybe they weren't the brightest lads in the world, But there was definitely a feeling, a change, a shift in the mentality of the whole group, and I think it was that belief. I think the first couple of results in that kind of 10-game run were against big teams, and I think that gave us the belief that I think we'd hammered a few teams, to be honest. And kind of the first, the Sport and Leisure were up there at the time, and they were, I think, maybe the rival. I think they were in second position. We beat them 6 one day at Drone Park. And that just gave the lads the belief, because there was so many young players. We didn't have too many senior players at that time in that group, and we just scored goals, Gary. We just had goals. Big Mark Miller at the time just scored goals for fun, with Johnny Heron beside him, just scored goals for fun, and it was easy. We just got to the point where we knew we couldn't really defend. We weren't very good at defending, so we just went. It was really all out attack, but it worked. It worked, and we didn't really change that philosophy. That wasn't something that we changed for a long time. We just went out and we weren't that strong in those positions, but going forward we were just unbelievable. But yeah, and even I say that definitely carried on into the Premier League. I think the first game of the Premier League we beat Albert Foundry 4-0 at home, who were a top Premier League side at that stage. So just give the boys the confidence, and really it grew from there, and I think it became a mentality within the club. I think the seconds were going well, and everything just kind of merged into one. So it was an unbelievable time, and I think for any club, once they get into that groove, it's a habit. Losing's a habit, winning's a habit. So I think for any club, but thankfully it happened for us.
So when you got that success at Ards Rangers, you said earlier about the fact that you had maybe 4 teams in a 9-year spell. Did you ever feel that you were, first of all, breaking up teams when did you feel it was more beneficial when they're successful to break up a team, or were you always looking just constantly for that edge to improve certain positions to improve your team?
I think it was something that happened naturally. I think one of the biggest things, I said, Mark Miller there, who I mentioned before, was in my 2 years at the club. First 2 years at the club, he scored 39 and 42 goals. It was unbelievable. And we had the opportunity to sign Darren Sterling, who was a banger. And Mark was difficult to manage at times, and maybe didn't train, but he was the main man at Ards Rangers. But I felt that Darren Sterling was, I knew Darren, I knew what he could bring. I thought he could just take us that next wee level, just in terms of professionalism and experience. And Mark was being difficult, and one of the hardest things I've done, one of the best things I've done, was I got rid of Mark. I got rid of Mark Miller. It was a massive statement. I don't think the boys in the club could believe, that I did it. But I did it to brought in Darren Sterling, and Darren was unbelievable, and obviously scored. I think he 6 months scored 22 goals, and that was the year we win our first league. So the progression of the team happened naturally somewhat, but I think we always improved. Certain players left, certain players got better opportunities to move on. Obviously, you bringing stuff went to the Glens at that time, and so I think as we got better, Gary, and we win games and win trophies, other players wanted to come. And it was just it went from being really difficult to sign players to being really easy to sign players. Players wanted to come at Ards Rangers, and because we had we had a core group of lads there, and there were probably a lot of them are mainly East Belfast-based players. You know, Johnny Roy, Mark Royce, Jamie Patterson's. You know, there's a group of them, and the environment, the atmosphere within them were brilliant. And there's such a wide circle of friends. You know, such a friendship group. You know, you were getting the Glen Bars, the Mark Hannas, and it was just growing in terms of players wanting to come. And you know, oh, where are you now? I'm sitting on the bench of the Welders. I'm sitting on the bench of Cumdella. Listen, I'm at Ards Rangers. You know, where it's brilliant. The Panthers, brilliant. You know, so it just naturally grew, and I suppose it was ruthless. Like I had no problem. You know, I made friends. It was brilliant, but I wasn't there to make friends. You know, I was there to win, and I just wanted to win. And you know, I'd flip and kick my granny, you know, to win. You know, and say my wee girl's 6, and you know, she's still waiting to beat me at a game. You know, flipping snakes and ladders. You know, because I just want to win. And that was what it was at Ards Rangers. Just, you know, I didn't care really. It was just I was obsessed. I was obsessed with winning. I just wanted to obsess with winning, and I didn't care who he upset. And thankfully, the decisions I made, like, they did pay off. It doesn't always work out, you know. I've seen that. It doesn't always work out, you know. But the best thing for me at Ards Rangers, I went with my gut. I had gut feelings, and I think, you know, and I maybe came away from that a wee bit at times, you know. But I went with my gut, and that's certainly something that I think I've done with an experience. I've just done as a youthful manager. Just, you know, always had a good staff team around me. Jackie Kerr, who's now the Ards Rangers manager, was my assistant manager, and you know, was brilliant. And you know, certain times I went with them, certain times I didn't, but it was always probably in my gut. You know, so I think now, you know, what I've learned, certainly, you know, even from my left Ards Rangers, flip, I go with my gut. You know, if I come down in the morning and she says to me, "I've got cornflakes," and I go, "Do you know what? My gut tells me I want ready break. I want to have ready break." You know, I just go with my gut now for every decision that I make, because I maybe didn't for a period, you know. But I think that's important. I think that's important for any manager or for any coach, you know, to go with their gut of what they think, because you know there'll always be, in football, there's always a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. You know, people will bore the death out of you with technical and tactical information. You know, I think as a manager, at the end of the day, you're the one whose head's on the block. You have to, you know, go with your gut. So my gut told me to change the team at Ards Rangers. You know, a player was being offered to me who was better than I thought what I had. So, you know, that was why the team changed. And we were fortunate. Not every club's in that position where maybe players are available that are better than what was there. But I felt they were available, they were better than what was there, and we took it. You know, so it was a lucky time.
You can be everyone's best mate, but you can then be unsuccessful as well, which is an hard thing. So you can't.
I'll tell you, Guy, when we were 11th and 1 at Ards Rangers, I was everybody's best mate. I had other managers, keep your head up, big man, texting me, and you know, I was really popular, you know. But when we were winning trophies, I was hated. You know, I think I fell out with so many people, and I don't regret it, you know, because and within the game, you know, but after the game, obviously it's great. But in football, you know, I wanted to win, and you can make friends, you know, and I've made friends in football, absolutely, 100%. But I say I just wanted to win, and that was my focus. And I say it's great when things can happen both ways, where you can make friends, and you know. But I say it's only a game of football at the end of the day, you know. So there has to be. But I think certainly when you're successful, there's a lot more people sniping behind your back, and a lot more people. You know, I think it happens at every club. I don't think there's anybody, you know, who doesn't get that, you know. But but it was a great brilliant time, and I say it's something I'll never ever forget. You know, promotion, 2 Premier Leagues, Border Cup. You know, we got beaten 2 Clarence Cup finals, beaten Intermediate Cup final when it was Championship 1 clubs in it. You know, Institute beat us 1-0 in the final. You know, which was a real sickener for us. But I say, you know, wouldn't have changed a second at my time.
So it's highs and lows. Obviously, losing cup finals is a low, but you could also be an also-ran team that doesn't get the cup finals. So it's still something you got to look back on and go, we made those cup finals, as well as the trophies you won, of course.
I know, definitely. I mean, the Intermediate Cup final run was amazing. You know, we beat so many Championship 1 clubs in the way to get to the final, and we were always kind of ruled off. And I remember the semi-final. It's on YouTube. Famous kind of night was it was Limavady. We were playing the semi-final, and we were destitute. Team was having barely with no forwards at all, which for a team that we always had strikers. With no strikers, and Darren Sterling was injured, and you know everybody was hurt. And we were down at training, and I say it was a gut decision. We were down at training. I think semi-final was a Wednesday night. We were training the Monday night at Hamwood Centre. And at that time, I had three really good centre halves. I had Mark Drysdale, Jamie Patterson, and Jared Watson. And I was sitting going, I'm going to have to leave one of these boys out. And big Watsy, he's big hooter on, big nose, looks like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And we were taking about in the game at the end. Big Watsy went up front, and I said, you know what? I ain't going to put him up front. And people were going, what? And he's never played up front in his life.
Yeah.
People thought it was crazy. And we're actually that night, we were wearing a yellow kit. So we looked like Sweden. So Watsy did look like Ibrahimovic with a hooter on. And went up front, and he scored an absolute. It's on YouTube. Anybody check it out? Haven't seen it before. Gareth McConaughey, the Limavady centre half, took a heavy touch, and Big Watsy just emptied him. As a centre forward, Big Watsy just emptied him, took him out, took a ball, ran 20 yards of the ball, stuck him on the keeper, to put us 1-0 up. So it was they were saying it was a tactical masterstroke, but he was lost like the rest of the game, but the goal was brilliant. But I say that was an amazing cup run, getting to the final. I think we thought maybe our name was on the trophy, but I say it didn't happen. Limavady scored a deflected free kick. I think it was 80th minute. But I say it was at that time Championship 1 clubs in the Media Cup, so it was a tough competition to get to, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, in terms of then you moved on to Knockbreda, were you offered the opportunity to go to Knockbreda, or I think you must have had some offers along the way as well to look at different points?
It was actually a time where I'd actually tentatively been spoke to about the Bangor job at that time, and Bangor at that time were going through turmoil between the old board and the new board, and basically there was a new board coming on board, and we'd had a conversation, and they had said to me, if we get on board, we would be interested in chatting to you about becoming the manager. At that stage, they'd just been relegated from Championship 2. It was going to be in the Ballymena League. And I thought, flip, unbelievable. Bangor, what a football club, the size of the club, this is really right up my street. But there was still the old board, were still in place, and they had wanted somebody else. They wanted. So then, an opportunity to talk to Knockbreda came my phone out of the blue one Friday, and I met them on the Saturday. It really happened quickly. So I met them on the Saturday, and then on the Monday, they offered me the job, where I still had the Bangor thing in the background. So it was still kind of going on. They were still saying, look, if we get in power, we still would be interested in you. But I had an opportunity to go to Knockbreda. It was Championship 1 club, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get that opportunity again, and I took it. And it was hard. It was hard to leave Ards Rangers. It was probably the right time, in terms of opportunities coming up. It was probably the right time to go to Knockbreda, or to leave. But it was always something that the Bangor thing always played in the back of my mind, because then 3 weeks after I took a Knockbreda job, the new board got in power, and obviously then there was no guarantee I would have got the job even at that stage. But they went with Hugh Sinclair, who obviously had a really successful time at Bangor, So it was something I kind of look back on, going flip, what a club that would have been as well. But I say the opportunity to manage in Championship 1 was something I couldn't have turned down, and I don't regret taking it. I don't regret going. And say the 2.5 years I had there, learned more probably in the 2.5 years than I did in the 9 years at Ards Rangers. It was a very, very different experience. Everything that happened to me. I can write a book. So even in terms of when I got the Knockbreda job, I had done my B licence in 2004 when I was with Carrick. But I'd lost it because I hadn't revalidated it. And then I'd actually done, I had went back then a couple of years before taking the Knockbreda job and done my B part 1 and then my B part 2 as it is now. So I'd actually done that, completed the assessment, but the IFA didn't give me my certificate until April of the following, so I think I took the job in, say, July time. They didn't give me the certificate until April, even though I'd done nothing between that time frame. I had passed the assessment, I'd done everything. They didn't, so that was a difficult time because it went to Knockbreda, and then it was the whole, you're the manager, but you're not the manager, and the IFA were watching us like I thought I'd shot somebody for the scrutiny we were being put under, and obviously a lot of other clubs had done similar, but I was being, that was a real tough time, difficult time, going into a new club, a new environment, and then not really being able to be seen to be the manager. Wasn't able to do this, wasn't able to do that, and it was difficult. Well, I maybe understood if I didn't have my B licence, but I passed the assessments. I'd done everything. I'd done all the work. I literally sat and waited for 6-7 months for just a bit of paper. So that was tough going to Knockbreda, but it was a great learning experience. And I said, contrary to beliefs, I never actually fell out with anybody at Knockbreda. Colin Russell and stuff, the owner, me and Colin never had a crossword, never fought, never fell out. Speaking to him not that long ago, after I've left, so there was never a fallout at Knockbreda. It was just very different. I think I did enjoy it, did learn loads. I think that it was different in the respect that my teams at Ards Rangers, anybody who'll know my teams at Ards Rangers were big, strong and physical. We scored goals, but we're big, strong and physical, and we had upset a lot of Championship 1 teams in cup competitions and stuff by being big, strong and physical and not having things their own way. Knockbreda, to be fair, wanted to go in a different direction, and that's fine. They wanted to do things differently, and I was kind of asked to facilitate that, and that was their prerogative. I was so happy to be at that level that I was just glad to be there.
Well, I agree.
And I think, with experience, maybe I could have and would have done things differently. We had some unbelievable players at Knockbreda, but I always make the old adage, it's a bit of a joke, but a football team's like a piano. It takes 8 who can carry it and 3 who can play it. Yeah. And at Knockbreda, I felt we had a team of piano players, really technical, good players, but we just didn't have enough grafters. I think ultimately, a few kind of hairy-faced kind of amateur league people, would have done well. But it wasn't always didn't always have the opportunity to bring those players in, which is fair enough. There's nobody's fault. The club wanted to bring in young technical players, and we did that. But it was I think it was difficult for me. I was going from a changing room of players with electronic tags on their ankles, and boys who were in there to wherever, and you were going from a team of maybe A-level students, who were all good lads, love every one of them, but it was just a very different. But I loved the experience, loved what we've done, loved playing the games, and I didn't feel any depth in any way, shape or form. Didn't feel, I think all good managers at that level. There was nobody, I never felt once where I couldn't do it. Or again, I always say about Tiernan Lynch, who's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Tiernan was at Larne, and before the money had came into Larne, Larne were played 10, lost 10. Rock bottom of Championship 1 with Tiernan as a manager. And the money came in, and everybody would have told you that time, Tiernan Lynch should have his depth. And now he's got a bit of backing. Tiernan's one of the top, and rightly so, regarded as one of the top kind of coaches, managers in the country, and rightly so. But we did. I think there was a people think that Knockbreda had a lot of money around them. There wasn't. There really wasn't. It was certainly from what I know, absolutely one of the lowest budgets in Championship 1.
Yeah.
And there was good clubs in Championship 1, guy. Your Portadown, went up this year. Ballinamallard, Newry, Loughgall were a top team. Even your Dundellas and the Whalers, doing really, really well. So it was a big learning curve for me. But I think I kind of got away from that going with my gut decision. A bit, and maybe didn't go with my gut enough times. And that definitely frustrated me. I think that if I could do it again, it would be something I would have the confidence maybe more to be able to change things. And that was why when I left, I didn't want to go back into any club. And that was why Islandmagee, I took my time with it because I wanted to go to a club where I could do it my own way, do my own thing, and I mean all over. Obviously, every manager will have different level of power at different club, and that's a club prerogative. That's not a criticism of anybody. But I like to have full control, of everything. And so that's why Islandmagee attracted me again to go back, because it was maybe a different experience I didn't have for 2.5 years, just being able to have total say.
Yeah.
And again, that comes from experience. That comes from, I was a young manager still, when I went to Knockbreda, I'm still the young manager now, so still a lot to do, and I say I'm certainly not put off by my experience at Championship 1. I think the knowledge I've gained from it now is, a lot. I've really gained a lot of experience from it, and knowledge and players, and just seeing how people do things differently. There is a big difference between Championship 1 and Amateur League. There's no doubt.
It's professionalism as well in the clubs.
Everything. I mean, especially I think the standard of Championship 1 has improved massively. There's so many. So many in big clubs. Like you go down to Ballymallard and stuff, and the setup.
Down.
It's unbelievable. It's a different world. It's unbelievable. And it took me a wee while even to come back to the Amateur League, and kind of there's only our 7 games coming back again. But you notice the difference massively. Just even from the referees and the linesmen all being mixed up, and just very, 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 very professional setup. But I see the game doesn't change. I think that there is, as I said before, there's too many people that overcomplicate football. Football's a simple game. Al Shankly said football's a simple game, complicated idiots. And there's too much technical and tactical talk. For me, put the ball in the back of a tent. That's the basis of football. And that's what wins you games. So, but as I know, really I don't regret going. I don't regret leaving Ards Rangers. Don't regret my experience at Knockbreda. But would love to get another chance at Championship 1 again one day. I'll certainly not be put off. But I'm realistic as well in terms of I need to go and be successful again. And win trophies and get myself back in that company, because I don't feel that. But some real good times at Knockbreda as well. Some real big victories. Some wasn't. Really, that club wanted to stay up. That was success for Knockbreda. They wanted to stay in Championship 1. That was there was never any real. Nobody was any fooled. By the wage budget and what we had. There was never. It was about bringing young players on loan, getting young players in and developing them. And there was never any kind of hidden agendas. People thinking we were going to go and challenge for promotion or anything like that. But I said. It was the right time for me to leave there as well, because it was, this year or last year, start last year, the budget had been cut again, and my assistant manager actually left. He had left. He'd been with me a long time. He's back with me at Islandmagee. He wasn't enjoying it, to the same. But me being me, I still felt I could make it work. I still felt I could make a difference. And I say, maybe it was very different from what I was used to having at Ards Rangers, just in terms of the setup of the way I wanted things. But again, that's absolutely Knockbreda's prerogative. And I say there was no fallouts or nothing like that at all. But it's nice to be at Islandmagee now, and say Islandmagee have been brilliant. It's nice to be able to bring in who I want, do what I want. I've got that freedom to express myself.
Because it's one of the things as well. You're coming from a team which wasn't natural winners when you first went to Ards Rangers, but you made them into a winning team, and the club's whole mentality change, where winning was the first aim. You go to Knockbreda where staying up was their first aim, and you don't just have to try and change the fortunes of the club on the pitch. You're also trying to change the mentality of the club as well. Can we compete at the top of Championship 1? It's a lot to do.
It is. I mean, listen, I couldn't fault the players and stuff. I think the resources is a massive factor. Because we couldn't have competed. Even locally with the Dundell and the Welders, we could not compete with those clubs at all. Trying to get players in, it was you were having to sign young players. The choice was either sign young players, sign young talented players. You could kind of, and if you look at maybe like Bobby Burns, who had not Knockbreda before, and obviously went on and now full-time professional football international. I think Knockbreda wanted to follow that model, of young players. So the choices in Knockbreda were either sign young players or sign experienced amateur league players. Because that was the only thing you could afford. That was your choice, And I say the club didn't. They wanted to go down the younger route at the start. When we went to Knockbreda, we did bring a lot of amateur league players in, but with a lot of red cards. There's a lot of but. I liked that team. That team was actually top of Championship 1 for a period. We went to Shamrock Park and we poured it down 1-0 and stuff. But I say the players we had. I mean, the team we left at Knockbreda, I thought was just super team. Technically, the players, like I said, Paddy Gafola and these types of players were unbelievable. Big D Farron and the goals he scored, but they were all young boys. I mean, it was like an under-20s team. Really, that was the team we had. It was just a very, very different. I'm used to kind of maybe rousing team talks and, boys banging walls and headbutting roofs and, screaming at each other and, just that motivation. And it was different because your team talks were having to be, the players wanted that technical information. That was what they used to coming up through academies. And I say, I think that's okay. If I was working as an under-20s coach at an Irish League club and stuff, and player development's important, but Championship 1 it wasn't. It was about results. It was about staying up. You know what I mean? So it was a different, it was a different purpose. It wasn't about progressing players at Knockbreda. If we progressed a player at Knockbreda, it was a bonus, but it was about results. Whereas I think, if you're at an under-20s team, it's about progressing players and you have that freedom. If you're if you're getting to an under-20s manager and you don't do well in the league, but 4 or 5 players go through and play for the first team as they have, you've done your job. But it's very different. I done it obviously at Ards 18s, which was the second team at that stage. There was no under-20s back then. Progressing players through the first team, so I've done that. But so I think I've had a good level of experience. And I've kind of been in the Irish League club and youth level with Ards. Obviously had the Amateur League with Ards Rangers, and I've been up in the Championship with Knockbreda. So I'm only 36, so I'm still kind of a lot of time to go.
Yeah, you've been in football a long time. It's mad to believe you're still about at least another 30 years left in it.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm doing my A license at the minute. So I've done part 1, and then I'm just starting to do part 2. My A license. So, it does challenge you going into coaching badges because you're focusing more on the coaching side of things than the management. It doesn't teach you anything about management. It doesn't. There's no. It's purely about coaching and the setup of the team. But yes, I think I have a good range of experience behind me. So I say it would be nice to. I think before I've done a lot of things instinctively as a young manager. I've done things without really thinking about it, and I've maybe fell in that trap of overthinking things as I've got older. Whereas I know kind of that 24-year-old that walked in the Ards Rangers would have told me to wise up and just
fear, just go for it.
Yeah. So that's why after that, that's certainly at Islandmagee. I've done that, being in and saying this is what I want. These are the changes that I want to make, and the club have been very, very good, and that's why I was happy to stay this year in terms of they've agreed everything that they kind of want. Just small wee things in around the ground and how to set up a place. And so I say we'll certainly don't write us off this year anyway.
At least Ards Rangers know now that you're actually not 4 years older. They can cancel the 40th celebration. The 40th party's over.
After I win the league. I win the league when I was 28. The first time I was 28-year-old manager on Premier League, and that night we're all having the drink, and I went to Desi, who was the secretary, and I said to Desi, he obviously thought I was 32. I said, Desi, I have something to tell you. I said, I'm only 28 now, and he just kind of looked at me, like I was. So I did a light about my age, but again, being from East Belfast, nobody in Ard knew me. So it was strange. Nobody knew me. There was always kind of rumours about my age, but nobody really knew what age I was. But I went after I won the first league. I said, well, they're not going to sack me now. So I told them that it was. I told them I was actually.
Hold on, mate. You were 28 4 years ago. Were you like Peter Pan?
I know that was. I'm Martin Mulwinning at Daily Mirror when he was there. He used to do interviews with me. And he used to, be writing in the paper. I think I must have told him my age, and he would be writing, Lee Forsythe, 28. And maybe, what are you talking about? You're 28? So, but age is just a number. I mean, I said it was, and it was, say, win promotion from 1A at 25, win the first Premier League at 28. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad going.
You're probably the youngest manager to ever win it anyway. That's what you could. I don't
know. I would love to see the records. Don't know. I don't know. But I was 28, like so. And then obviously it would have been 31. I think when I win the 31 when I win the next one. And the Border Cup, 31. So, but maybe the younger version of me is better. But no, I say that's. I want to get back now and get back to doing things just how I want them, and I say seeing where it takes us. But definitely there is something in that kind of go me your cup. Definitely is a manager, just go me your cup and being able to and to be honest with you, even when I left Ards Rangers, my gut probably told me Bangor, and I didn't wait for it. I didn't have the patience. I couldn't wait 3 weeks. It might have blew up. It might have turned the Knockbreda job down. Bangor thing may have never materialised. They the new board may have got on par and not wanted me. or there was only a conversation, so only a conversation with one person really, but it might never happened. But that always sat on me too. So I say now I always just kind of go on with players and what we do. But I say don't write us off next year. But I say I'm not going to be arrogant either, and dismissive of other people. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to a couple of questions I would ask normally at the end of finding out about your career, etc. So normally I would ask people what's their best player they've ever played with or coach. But we're going to ask a good question in the Facebook saying about what would be your greatest five-a-side team that you've either coached or played with. And I thought that was a better way to go, because then it gives you an option for five.
I seen that actually, and it was Big Watsy put that. Big Watsy's only asked that question because he was finding out he'd be in the five. That's the only reason he's asked it. Best five-a-side team. That's a good question. I think it depends whether I put a keeper or not in. That's if I had a keeper, it would be Lee Windrum, who was unbelievable. For me, I brought him in at Ards Rangers, and he made his debut for me. And that night, he was on Take Me Out. So he was on the TV. We'd play a game, and he goes, "By the way, lads, I'm on Take Me Out tonight." But he was brilliant, just so confident, and Art loved himself. And I remember the year we won the league, went down to Kilmore, and he made the only mistake I ever seen him make in my life. We're 1-0 down at half time, and he came in to change him at half time, and he says, he goes, "Lads, I'm sorry." He said, "I'm just telling you now, if you score 2 goals, we'll win this game. I will not concede." And you believed him, and we did. We went 2-1, and you believed him. So Lee was definitely the best, but where I put him in a five-a-side team, I don't know. Big Watsy would definitely be there. As we brought Watsy in, he was captain centre half. That's Big Zlatan, as we call him now. He went up and scored that famous goal. So I'd have Watsy as my defender. I'd go with Ryan Newbury. Has to be in the team. Ryan Newbury. People are kind of asking me about the best player. It's easily Newbury. It's easily hands down. Ryan Newbury. Ryan should have and could have done a lot more with his career through circumstances. When he in 2012 and won the league, the only Irish league manager that didn't ring me about Newbury was David Jeffrey at Linfield. Every single other manager in the league wanted Newbury, and he I think he was close to going to Glenalbyn. Probably should have went to Crusaders at the time. I think Baxter was really good with him and knew him the most. But obviously Newbury, like me, and he's Belfast boy at Glenman. He went to the Oval, and obviously had people documented what happened to him. At the Oval, he got banned. The FA banned him crazily for 9 months for breaking a hotel window. When full internationals have done a lot worse and got 4-game bans. And that killed Newbs. And he never fulfilled his potential. Nobody really touched him then after that. He got a bit of a reputation. But easy Newbury in the team. Watsy Newbury. Wee Gary McDermott, which as a five-a-side player, he wouldn't have to run too far. I was shoot Gary. Wee Gary had been a team. Wee Gary came in at Ards Rangers and scored. Played in the left midfielder. He scored 25 goals a season. 25 goals a season. And he said to me, "Lee, I'm a centre forward. I want to play up front." I said, "Gary, you show me an our left midfielder who scores 25 goals a season and I play up front. You're not going to score any more goals up front than you are, at left midfield." Wee Gary would be there. Watsy Newbury Gary. Big Ricky Rutherford would be there. When I signed Ricky for Ards Rangers, everybody said he was dumb. I think dumber I should get rid of him. Lunatic, absolute one of the maddest men ever. But he revolutionised. He revolutionised us because we were flat. Signed 2013 Ards Rangers, and we were a wee bit flat when he came in, and he just big, horrible, ugly centre forward. He had elbow you, he'd hit you, scored unbelievable goals for us. And Big Ricky would be in my team all day, every day. Yeah. And last 5 with Lee Windrum, but I'll maybe leave Lee Windrum out and go for Glenn Upton, go for Wee Upty. McGee and Upty signed for me in the first year and won the double, win the Amateur League Player of the Year. And I scored a lot of goals. We sick. No, it was a famous team talk I done years ago. Was I went through the whole team and I said, "There's something wrong with every single one of you." And like Wee Upty was a sick note on Crohn's disease. People thought he was half dead, and he just went out and he scored 2, 3, 4 every single week. Just class hanging out of him. A real good guy too. I think all them lads were good. Were gentlemen as well. So but those boys used to go out would go out a Saturday night, you know, and they wouldn't turn up for training on a Tuesday. They were still out. They were that crazy. You know, one night in Ards Rangers club, there was a fire inspection on Sunday, and Newbury and Big Steaky took the fire extinguisher and went for a walk with it up Portaferry Road, squirting over all the cars. And the fire inspection was the next morning. So just boys were mad, but brilliant. Just a great group. That would be my 5. Watsy, Gary McDermott, Newbury, Upday and Ricky. That would win some. Wouldn't need a keeper with that.
Yeah, some 5-a-side team.
Fly
nets.
And there'll be loads of people now falling out to me that I haven't mentioned. Jamie Patterson and Mucker and stuff, but lots of Darren Sterling. You know, I pick so many.
Yeah.
You know, but they would probably be. We Jackie Kerr would have a shirt as well. We Jackie, the Ards Rangers manager now. He was brilliant for me when we played.
Yeah.
So.
But some say so. It is mentioning that one guy, Gary McDermott. There's a story about him with a washing machine. Donald Kernahan asked, "What's that about?"
Gary, there's more than one story about Gary McDermott. and I'll just say it before I start. Like, I love Gary McDermott. Gary McDermott,
yeah, good guy.
The stupidest guy you have ever come across in your life. Literally, he lived with his nanny and granda, and they done everything for this wee boy. Gary didn't know. He bought a new car. His granda bought him a new car one day, and I asked him, you know, what kind of engine was it? And he goes, silver. He just didn't have a clue. But his nanny and granda went to Dubai, I think, on holiday, and left Gary in the house on his own. And this was a shambles, like an absolute shambles to leave Gary on your own. Just I wouldn't let Gary out of a goldfish. And he rings me. He texts me or ring me, and he said to me, "Lee, how do you work a washing machine?" And I said, he texted me. I said, "This gotta be a joke. This has got to be a joke. How do you use a washing machine?" So I'm like going, I can't believe this. Like, he's about 25 and he's asking me these questions. So I told him, I said to him, "Gary, put all the clothes on the floor. Put all the clothes out the floor you want washed. Cover them in washing powder. Put them in the washing machine and just say go." And he goes, "What do you mean say go?" I said, "What washing machine is it?" And he comes back to me and he goes, "Hot Point." I said, "Mate, all Hot Points from 2006 are voice activated." So Gary McDermott goes and gets all the washing. And he sent me pictures. Goes and he covers the whole floor in a box of washing powder. Like, a washing powder was everywhere, all over the floor. And I says, "Gary, send me a picture." He sends me a picture. He goes, "Is that right?" I says, "Yes, mate, that's perfect." I said, "Just scoop all the clothes up now and put them in the washing machine." So he puts them on the washing machine. And I'm texting. I said, "Look, just say go." So he texts me, "It's not working." So he rings me. He says, "Lee, I'm telling you." And he's deadly serious. He wasn't joking. And he says, "It's not working." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Let me hear you." And he's standing there, Gary, and I'm going, wife. And the wee Shankill Road accent, and I am in stitches laughing at him. And I says, Gary, it's your accent, mate. I said, "Your accent's not right." I said, say better, shit. And he, wife. And he's standing there trying all different words, and I was in stitches. Actually, I had it in loudspeaker, me and the wife were killing ourselves. And I took the pictures and put it in. And I'll tell you, I think a better story than that. The next day, he rings me, he texts me, and he goes, "My electric's out." And I text him back, "What the fuck?" He texts his football manager, "My electric's out." So I text him back, and I said, "Ring NIE." So what does he want me to do? Ring NIE. So 10 seconds later, my phone rings. Gary McDermott. I answer. I says, "Hello." And he goes, "Hello." He says, "What do you want?" He says, "You said ring now." I said, "Gary, I said ring NIE." He goes, "Oh, I thought you were saying ring now." Honestly. And I said, I was the same day, and he's on the phone to me. I said, "Gary, go to shop and buy candles." I says, "Go and buy candles, light the house up if you can't see in the dark." He goes, "Right." So he rings me about an hour later. He goes, "Flipping candles are there, aren't they?" He says, "Right, what?" He says, 60 quid. I says, 60 quid for candles? He says, "What did you get?" He went and bought 4 big, massive Yankee candles.
£15
each. £15 each, 60 quid. Stupidest person ever. Like, so he's somehow now moved out and living with a girl, which is just amazing. But great player, like, you know, super player. Do anything for you, but flipping brain dead.
He worked in a sunbed shop at one point. To take it all your boys were all bronzed, were they?
He did. He flipped the sunbed shop. I don't know how. He ran the sunbeds. He was a manager of the sunbed shop. But I have no idea how Gary run. I think really his granddad set him up in the sunbed shop and said, "There you go, Gary. Just sit there and don't touch anything." You know, but because the thought of Gary being near electrics would scare me, you know. But yeah, I don't even know what he's working at now. I think he went and got himself a sensible job. I don't know, but great lad. Like some of the funniest thing, our changing room just used to be taking him out of Gary, you know, because he was just so stupid. But again, he's a great player. You know, some of the stories about girlfriends and flip. You know, I'm not even tell someone if he's got a new partner.
But you find as well, see when you're a manager of an amateur league club, you're not just a manager, you're a social worker halfway time, and you're their second dad, so they are halfway time, and there's these kids, and they're in their 20s, and they're looking to you to sort out life's problems for them.
There was so many. I mean, Newbury was obviously the key one, you know, but it worked as well. I say that game, the Albert Foundry game, to win the league the first time, you know, all the crowd was there, the news reporters were, everybody was there, and everybody was nervous. You know, both teams were nervous. Albert Foundry were nervous, we were nervous, and we came into the changing room. And I remember the changing room door was open and we came in, and Newbury comes in. You know, Newbury and Sticky travelling down together in the car, flipping. Oh, honestly, some of the things. But Newbury walks in anyway, and he goes, "Lads," he says, "Want to see this new stuff I got?" He says, "It's guaranteed not to sleep for 72 hours. You get your money back." And the whole changing room's just in stitches, you know, and it was just perfect. It was what was needed, because Albert Foundry, we were just in stitches, wrist roaring and laughter, and Albert Foundry are kind of laughing. I could see them into our changing room, and our boys, you know, for such a pressure and what was at stake, you know, and we just looked like we didn't have a care in the world, and that was Newbury. You know, he didn't have a care in the world. He was just, you know, he was that kind of innocently stupid, you know, but guaranteed not to sleep for 72 hours, you get your money back. And that was the kind of, the boys were just on the floor, you know, rolling about laughing. But I'd say with those players just had that knack of saying the right thing, you know, at the right time. And I like that. I think certainly in an amateur league team, and that's what I like about Islandmagee, you know, they are mental. You know, the players are mental, and that's good. And I love that. And that's what you want. Yeah. You know, you want players on the edge. You want players who are, you know, you want players who hurt. That was the one thing about the Ards Rangers team. No matter what you say about any of the players over the years, they all wanted to win. You know, they all wanted to win. It hurt them. It hurt them when they didn't win. And I say that's what I saw in the Kenny Islandmagee players when I saw a couple of games. I went and watched a couple of teams. I had a couple of offers in the amateur league, and I watched a couple of teams. And I thought when I watched Islandmagee, they looked like the, you know, good players, but looked like the hurt a wee bit in the curd. And I thought that was something that I could. But you want a team on the edge. You want a team who are kind of on that line. And I said Islandmagee with a game last year, it was abandoned half time away to Derryaki. And Jerry Workman gets sent off for about 20 minutes, and he said, "Gaffer," he said, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I'm sorry." He said, "But you have me so pumped up." He said, "I feel like at home I'm beating a wife." You know, and that I like that. You know, I like that. Yeah. Obviously, we don't want to go to that level of players getting sent off for 20 minutes. But I like that, you know, I got a reaction. I could get a reaction out of them. You know, the changing room was pumping. You know what I mean? The players, every player knew it. Every player knew theirs in the back of the neck. You know, when you need that spark. You need that something. You know, Big Soap said in his interview about like a siege mentality and using something against you. You know, Islandmagee have always been hated. You know, I hated them. You know, I think, you know, obviously Megan Moore played for him. Megan Moore is probably the most hated man. I don't even think his own family like him. He's the most hated man in the world. You know, but it works. You know, it's good, and everybody calling you names and running you down. And I say we're going to play into that. That's what we're going to, you know. Hopefully, with the start of the season, I'm going to make the players think everybody hates them. You know, even more than they probably do, because we're not. You know, in popularity contest, Islandmagee will not win a lot. You know, and so hopefully we can use that to our own advantage. But I think teams can be hated, but you know, as long as they're respected, and that was, you know, every team you could say you hated Newington, you hated Crumstar, but you respected them. Do you know what I mean? You respected them, and I say, again, to make us sound like a big soap loving, but you know, I hated Newington. Newington were, you know, it broke my heart that time. You know, I thought we were going to win the league, and I always remember we won the league, and I texted them this after on the interview. We won the league in 2012, and off Newington, and one of the first people to ring me was Big Soap, and he didn't have my number, but didn't speak. All we'd really done was mouth at each other, you know, on a Saturday across the sidelines, we'd mouth at each other and bad mouth each other, and you know. But one of the first people to ring me, and I just thought that's a touch of class, you know, to do that. And I always remembered that, you know, winning the league and being a young manager, and it was something that I've always tried to carry on with, you know, with other people. Yeah. But I always thought that was a touch of class. So you respected them teams, you know, and hopefully the teams we had before, you know, and maybe a team in the future, you know, people will hate Islandmagee, but hopefully respect.
Hopefully respect. Yeah.
Hopefully respect what we're about, and that's, you know. But again, respect's earned. You know what I mean? If they're getting on like dickheads and, you know, or, you know, excuse my French, but they're getting on, you know, and not doing things, you know, the right way, or conducting themselves the right way, you know, we'll conduct ourselves the right way. So there's a line as well, you know, and I think, you know, I've tried to implement that going into Islandmagee. You know, I think I've maybe been a bit rudderless beforehand, but I say no, mate. I'm excited, looking forward to the new season. Lots of good, and I said, I know they'll be listening. You know, my big mate and as coach, big Johnny Hastings and Johnny McCulloch here at Larne Tech. And apparently, you know, Larne Tech and Islandmagee have this massive hated rivalry, and I don't know about it. When he came in, and I done my B license, done my A license with them, you know, and they're two great lads, but it's such a rivalry between the two clubs. So I'm really looking forward to experiencing that, you know, with two people who I really get on with. Yeah. Here, you know, that consider friends. So we'll see if we're still friends after these these kind of apparently these are massive rivalry, massive derbies. You know, Islandmagee and Larne. I have no idea, you know, but we'll soon find out. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to getting started. Soon find
Brilliant.
out.
Mate, thanks very much for giving up your time. I really enjoyed speaking to you. It's good to get a good insight, and especially when a mentality, when your success you've had before at Ards Rangers, etc. And I really wish you all the best.
I know
hope it all goes well for you.
I'm enjoying it. Hopefully people enjoy this.
It's always good reminiscing, so it is. It's always good reminiscing and talking.
It definitely has been. No, I've enjoyed doing it. Thanks for having me on.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. The podcast is sponsored by Managerial Driving School and Trumbull Park Racecourse. And I'll be back next week with another interview. Thanks very much for listening, folks.